Dr. Alara Miles adjusted her glasses as she stepped onto the podium, the murmurs of the assembled alien scientists filling the air. The conference room aboard the Harmony was a melting pot of the galaxy's finest minds, yet as she scanned the crowd, skepticism was the predominant expression. "Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished beings," Alara began, her voice steady despite the flutter in her stomach, "today, I am here to challenge your perceptions of Earth's ecological roles with a creature that epitomizes survival and adaptation, the amphibious rex, a frog that eats snakes." A ripple of disbelief spread through the room. From the corner of her eye, Alara saw Kale, a young Virionian scientist known for his dismissive attitude towards Earth species. He smirked, folding his arms. "Dr. Miles," interrupted a voice, its owner a towering figure from a species known for their intellectual rigor. "Are you suggesting that this Earth creature defies the established predator-prey dynamics recognized across the galaxy?" "Yes, precisely," Alara replied, her confidence growing. Amphibious rex not only consumes creatures many times its size but also provides a unique perspective on ecological balance. The crowd buzzed with intrigue and skepticism. Alara clicked her remote, and the screen behind her flickered to life, showing a vivid image of the amphibious rex in action. As you can see, the frog uses its extraordinary elastic tongue and robust digestive system to consume snakes. This adaptation isn't just fascinating, it's a testament to Earth's unique evolutionary paths. Kale stood up, his voice carrying across the room. "Dr. Miles, while your presentation is theatrical, how do we know these are not isolated incidents? Could this not simply be an anomaly among Earth species?" Before Alara could respond, the room's lights flickered. Murmurs turned into concerned whispers as the display glitched. Alara's heart sank, she had been fearing sabotage. She took a deep breath and addressed the room. "It seems we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please, bear with me." As technicians scrambled, Alara's assistant rushed over with a whisper, "Dr. Miles, the ecosystem module is malfunctioning. It's not just a glitch, it's been tampered with." Alara's mind raced. The demonstration was crucial not just for her career but for proving Earth's worth. She whispered back, "Keep working on it. I'll stall." Turning back to the assembly, Alara continued, "While we resolve this, let's consider why understanding such unique creatures is vital. Our galaxy thrives on diversity, and every system brings something invaluable to the table. Dismissing any as simplistic is not just scientifically negligent, it's a failure to grasp the broader ecological tapestries that bind us." Kale's voice cut through the tension. "Dr. Miles, with respect, your philosophical stance cannot substitute for empirical evidence. Without your demonstration, your claims remain unverified." Alara met his gaze, her resolve hardening. "Then allow me to ensure we can all witness empirical evidence. If you'll excuse me for a moment." She stepped off the podium and hurried behind the scenes, where her team was frantically working. Amid the chaos, Alara spotted Kale lurking suspiciously close to the module. Confronting him, she asked pointedly, "Kale, do you doubt the resilience of Earth species so much that you'd interfere with scientific processes?" Kale looked taken aback. "Dr. Miles, I assure you, I am here out of curiosity. Despite my doubts, I wish to see this through." Alara studied him for a moment, then turned to her team. "Status?" Her lead technician looked up. "We've bypassed the main disruptor. It's a temporary fix, but it should hold for your demo." "Thank you," she said, then turned to address Kale and the other onlookers who had followed her. "Let's return to the conference room. It's time we all see what Earth can show the galaxy." Back at the podium, Alara initiated the live feed from the ecosystem module. The room fell silent as the image stabilized, showing the amphibious rex in its controlled environment. The frog sat motionless, its eyes fixed on the snake that slithered cautiously nearby. Then, in a flash of movement too quick for some in the room to follow, the frog's tongue shot out, ensnaring the snake. The crowd gasped as the frog began to swallow the snake whole, an act of predation as ruthless as it was mesmerizing. As the frog settled back, clearly victorious, Alara turned to the assembly, her voice clear and triumphant. What you've just witnessed is not an anomaly. It's a clear demonstration of Earth's complex and often underestimated ecological dynamics. Cale stood, his earlier skepticism replaced with a begrudging respect. Dr. Miles, I concede. It seems I, too, have underestimated Earth's contributions. Elara smiled, feeling a mix of relief and victory. Thank you, Cale. I hope this opens up more discussions about what each of our worlds can bring to the galaxy. Let's continue to learn from each other and grow together. As the assembly erupted into applause, Elara knew she had not only vindicated Earth's ecological prowess but had also paved the way for future collaborations, proving once again that humanity had much to offer, even in a galaxy as vast and diverse as theirs. Elara glanced around the now silent conference room. The display behind her showed the amphibious Rex resting after its dramatic meal. The atmosphere had shifted palpably, the air charged with a mix of astonishment and respect. Does anyone have questions? Elara asked, breaking the brief silence. A hand shot up from the audience. It belonged to Thrall, a biologist from the methane swamps of Zilog. His voice, though distorted by his translator, carried his awe. Dr. Miles, how does the frog digest such large prey efficiently? Is this a common trait among Earth's predators? Elara nodded, pleased with the curiosity. Great question, Thrall. What's unique about amphibious Rex is not just its prey choice but its highly adaptive digestive system, which secretes powerful enzymes capable of breaking down tough reptilian scales and bones. This is less common on Earth but speaks to the diversity of evolutionary solutions our planet's life forms have developed. Another scientist, a feathered being from Avieris, chimed in, is it possible that similar evolutionary traits are overlooked on other planets due to biases in what we expect to see? Elara smiled, recognizing the shift towards a broader scientific dialogue. Absolutely. It's critical we challenge our assumptions and look deeper, beyond our conventional wisdom. Who knows how many unique biological marvels are waiting to be discovered? As the questions continued, Elara felt a wave of relief wash over her. The sabotage had threatened to undermine her credibility, but now the tide was turning. Yet, the issue of the tampering loomed large in her mind. She needed to address it, but first, she had to capitalize on the momentum of her successful demonstration. When the queries began to dwindle, Elara took a deep breath and addressed the room. Thank you for your insightful questions. I hope this presentation has broadened our understanding of ecological diversity. However, I must address another matter. There was an attempt to sabotage today's demonstration. The room erupted in murmurs of shock and confusion. Cale's face tightened, and he looked around, sensing the shift in the mood. Elara continued, this was not a malfunction or an accident. It was a deliberate act to prevent us from seeing the capabilities of the amphibious Rex. We are investigating this, and I assure you, we will find those responsible. A stern-looking delegate from Virion, clad in dark, reflective clothing, stood up. Dr. Miles, are you suggesting there is a saboteur among us? This is a serious accusation. What proof do you have? Elara met his gaze squarely. We have detected unauthorized access to the ecosystem module's controls. Security is reviewing all surveillance data, and we expect to have answers soon. Cale now stood, his face somber. I want to help with the investigation, Elara. It's important that everyone here knows that Virionians respect scientific integrity. Elara nodded slightly, appreciating his gesture. Thank you, Cale. Your support is valuable. As the meeting adjourned, Elara and Cale walked together toward the lab. Do you really think someone did this to undermine your presentation? Cale asked, his voice low. Not just mine, Cale. It's bigger than that. It's about undermining Earth's position here, Elara replied, her mind racing through potential suspects and motives. In the lab, Elara's assistant showed them the security footage. They watched as a shadowy figure tampered with the module late at night. The image was grainy, and the figure was cloaked in a hood. Cale leaned closer, squinting. Can we enhance this? After a few moments of processing, the image cleared slightly, showing a badge on the figure's arm, a badge that resembled those used by delegates from a minor coalition known for their hardline stances on bioconservation. This doesn't make sense. Why would they risk a scandal here? Cale wondered aloud. It's not just about scandal. It's about fear, Alara speculated. Fear that Earth might gain a significant foothold in galactic affairs through unique biological insights. They decided to confront the delegate from the minor coalition, a calculated risk but one that might force the issue into the open. They found him at a communal area, his expression turning defensive as he saw them approach. Alara didn't mince words. We know about the sabotage. We have footage of someone with your coalition's badge. We can do this here or in front of the council. The delegate's eyes flickered with uncertainty, then resignation. It was never my decision alone. There are many who fear that Earth's emerging influence could disrupt existing power structures. We wanted to delay you, to make you seem unreliable. Cale's expression hardened. By undermining scientific discovery? You're not preserving order, you're stifling progress. The delegate looked around, the weight of the gathered crowd's eyes on him. We underestimated your resolve and your capacity to uncover the truth. Alara stepped closer, her voice firm yet not without empathy. Let's take this to the council. It's time everyone sees the kind of future we should be striving for, one where fear doesn't dictate our actions. As they led the delegate away, Alara felt a mix of triumph and sorrow. Triumph that her project had survived and thrived against odds, and sorrow for the fear that drove intelligent beings to such desperate measures. But above all, she felt ready. Ready to defend not just her work, but the principle that diversity in all forms was worth understanding, worth celebrating. It was a complex galaxy, but as the amphibious Rex had shown, even the smallest could reveal the most profound truths. The conference room aboard the Harmony settled into a charged silence as Alara addressed the gathered delegates and scientists. While the revelation of sabotage is unsettling, it underscores the urgency and necessity of our mission here, to foster understanding and share knowledge freely across the galaxy. Let's not allow fear to overshadow our potential for discovery and cooperation. Cale nodded in agreement, his earlier reservations replaced by a newfound respect for Alara's resolve. Dr. Miles is correct. We have much to learn from each other. Let's proceed with open minds and hearts. Alara smiled at Cale, grateful for his support, then turned back to the audience. With the saboteur addressed, let us move forward. I would like to reopen the demonstration of the amphibious Rex and delve deeper into its ecological implications. The screen behind her flickered to life, displaying the frog in its controlled habitat. The delegates leaned forward, their earlier skepticism tempered by curiosity and the drama of recent events. As you can see, the amphibious Rex is not just a predator, it is a keystone species in its ecosystem. Its hunting strategy, which allows it to consume prey much larger than itself, plays a critical role in controlling the population of snakes, which can become pests if left unchecked, Alara explained. A scientist from the aquatic planet of Hydron raised a hand. Dr. Miles, could this predator-prey dynamic be replicated in controlled ecosystems to manage pest populations on other worlds? Alara nodded. Absolutely, and that's a brilliant application of this knowledge. Replicating Earth's predator-prey relationships in artificial ecosystems could provide natural solutions to agricultural or ecological problems without resorting to chemicals or genetic manipulation. The room buzzed with excitement as delegates began to see the practical applications of her research. Cale, catching on to the enthusiasm, added, imagine integrating such biological strategies into our environmental controls. We could enhance our agricultural yields and biodiversity simultaneously. Alara continued, moreover, studying such unique predators can lead to breakthroughs in our understanding of biological adaptability and resilience. The enzymes produced by the amphibious Rex for digestion have potential applications in medicine and industry. A delegate from the technologically advanced planet of Technes spoke up, could we engineer synthetic versions of these enzymes for industrial use? Breaking down waste materials, perhaps? Potentially, yes, Elara responded. Such applications could revolutionize waste management and recycling processes across the galaxy. The implications extend far beyond simple predator-prey dynamics. As the discussion unfolded, the initial resistance to Earth's ecological data transformed into a collaborative brainstorming session. Elara facilitated the exchange, pointing out connections between Earth's ecosystems and those of other planets, fostering a spirit of unity and mutual interest. The conference soon shifted from lectures to interactive workshops, with Elara and Kale leading a session on integrating Earth's biological strategies into galactic agricultural practices. The room was alive with delegates sketching out plans, simulating environments, and proposing joint research initiatives. As the workshop drew to a close, Kale turned to Elara, his expression thoughtful. "Dr. Miles, your work could bridge gaps between our worlds. What you've shown today goes beyond scientific data, it's a testament to Earth's potential as a leader in ecological science." Elara felt a swell of pride, not just for herself but for her planet. "Thank you, Kale. I hope this is just the beginning. Together, we can create solutions that benefit not just one planet but the entire galaxy." The final remarks were made by the Assembly's chair, a venerable scientist from the elder race of Eldoria. "Today, we have seen that prejudice and fear can cloud our judgment and hinder our progress. Let us take the lesson of the amphibious Rex to heart. Diversity and adaptability are strengths, not threats. Earth has shown us a way forward, let us follow it with courage and curiosity." As the delegates applauded, Elara and Kale exchanged a look of shared accomplishment. The conference had started with doubt and disruption, but it ended with partnerships and possibilities blooming. Elara packed up her notes, her mind already racing with ideas for future projects and papers. As she walked out of the conference room, she felt a lightness in her step. Today had been a victory not just for her or for Earth, but for science and for the galaxy. The amphibious Rex had proven itself to be more than just a predator, it had become a symbol of hope and unity. And as the delegates dispersed, each carrying with them a spark of the inspiration they had found here, Elara knew that the impact of this day would ripple across the stars for years to come. Elara stood at the edge of the observation deck, her thoughts swirling as she replayed the events of the day. The amphibious Rex had exceeded expectations, its demonstration turning doubters into believers. Yet, the lingering shadow of the sabotage gnawed at her. This was not just about science, it was about Earth's place in a galaxy that often underestimated it. Footsteps echoed behind her. Kale approached, his demeanor uncharacteristically subdued. "Elara, I wanted to say. I underestimated you. And Earth." She turned, arms crossed, studying his face for signs of insincerity. There were none. "Why the change of heart? You didn't seem particularly eager to listen earlier." Kale shrugged, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "I was arrogant. Virion prides itself on complexity, on the idea that we've mastered understanding life. Seeing that frog, though, it forced me to reconsider. Sometimes, the simplest creatures can teach the most profound lessons." Elara softened. "That's the point, Kale. Earth's ecosystems thrive on balance, adaptation, and resilience. These aren't just biological traits, they're lessons for all of us." Kale hesitated, then added, "There's something else. I've been thinking about the sabotage. I know you've been focusing on the minor coalition delegates, but what if they weren't acting alone? What if this goes deeper?" Elara frowned. "You're saying there's more to this than a few disgruntled factions?" "I'm saying it's possible," Kale replied. "The timing, the precision of the tampering, it feels coordinated. Someone wanted your demonstration to fail spectacularly, and I don't think they cared about the fallout." The weight of his words settled on her. "Then we need to dig deeper. If this is bigger than we thought, it's not just Earth's reputation at stake, it's the integrity of this entire assembly." Kale nodded. "I've been reviewing the data from the sabotage. There's a pattern in the access logs, someone used credentials that don't match any registered delegate. They were forged." Elara's mind raced. Forged credentials mean someone with resources, someone who could manipulate security systems without raising suspicion. Do you have any leads? Kale pulled up a holographic display, showing a string of data logs. There's one anomaly. The access points trace back to a storage wing near the ecosystem module, but that wing was supposed to be off-limits during the conference. Then that's where we start, Alara said firmly. Let's go. The two navigated the dimly lit corridors of the Harmony, their footsteps muffled by the soft hum of the ship's systems. As they approached the storage wing, a faint sound caught Alara's attention, a low hum, like machinery operating where it shouldn't be. Kale motioned for silence, and they edged closer. Behind a sealed door, a faint blue light flickered. Kale accessed the control panel, his fingers moving swiftly over the interface. The door slid open, revealing a small, makeshift workstation. Monitors displayed live feeds of various parts of the ship, including the ecosystem module. Alara's stomach tightened. They were watching us. Kale scanned the equipment. This is sophisticated. Whoever set this up knew exactly how to cover their tracks. But why leave it operational? Before Alara could respond, a voice echoed from behind them. Because they wanted you to find it. They spun around to see a figure step out of the shadows, their face partially obscured by a hooded cloak. The stranger's voice was calm, almost amused. Impressive work, Dr. Miles. And you, Kale. I didn't think you'd get this far. Alara squared her shoulders. Who are you, and why sabotage my demonstration? The figure chuckled. Your demonstration was merely a means to an end. You see, Earth's rising influence threatens certain balances of power. Your success here could tip the scales, and not everyone is eager for that. Kale stepped forward. Sabotage and deceit are cowardly ways to maintain balance. If you truly believed in your position, you'd debate, not undermine. The figure's tone darkened. Debate? When has logic ever swayed ambition? Power is taken, not granted. And Earth doesn't understand the stakes. You're meddling in a galaxy far older and more complex than your little planet. Alara's voice was steady. Complexity doesn't make you superior. It makes you vulnerable to arrogance. Earth has survived precisely because we understand balance and adaptation. You think you're preserving order, but you're stifling progress. The figure paused, considering her words. Perhaps. But ideals don't change realities. If Earth wants a seat at the table, it must prove it belongs, without relying on sympathy or novelty. Alara's jaw tightened. Earth has nothing to prove. We belong because we contribute. Today's demonstration showed that, despite your attempts to undermine us. The figure's gaze lingered on her before they stepped back into the shadows. This isn't over, Dr. Miles. Consider this a warning. Tread carefully. They disappeared, leaving Alara and Kale alone in the storage wing. Kale exhaled slowly. What now? Alara straightened, her resolve unshaken. Now, we take this to the Assembly. They need to know the extent of this conspiracy. If Earth is going to secure its place, we do it with truth and transparency. Kale nodded. And we'll expose the ones who fear that truth. As they left the storage wing, Alara felt a surge of determination. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she knew one thing for certain: Earth's voice would not be silenced. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long, and it was time to show them what resilience truly meant. Alara strode into the grand chamber of the Assembly, her steps measured but resolute. Delegates from across the galaxy were already seated, their voices weaving into a low hum of speculation. The room fell silent as she approached the central podium, Kale just a step behind her. She had one chance to make her case, to reveal the truth about the sabotage and solidify Earth's place in this precarious galactic alliance. She began with a calm, steady voice. Esteemed delegates, I stand before you today not to speak about the remarkable predator-prey dynamics of Earth's amphibious wrecks, but to address something far more pressing. There has been an intentional effort to undermine this assembly, targeting not only my work but the principles upon which this council was founded: cooperation, understanding, and trust. Her words rippled through the room like a shockwave. Murmurs broke out, but she raised a hand to silence them. Before you dismiss this as conjecture, let me present the evidence. Cale stepped forward, activating the holographic display. Images of the hidden workstation flickered into view, along with logs of the forged credentials used to access restricted areas. Delegates leaned forward, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. This workstation was discovered in the storage wing, equipped to monitor and disrupt my ecosystem module. The credentials used to tamper with the system were falsified, linked to no registered delegate. Alera's gaze swept the room. This was not an accident or a rogue act of sabotage. It was a calculated move to discredit Earth's contributions to this assembly. A delegate from the Valkyran cluster, known for their shrewdness and political maneuvering, stood. Dr. Miles, these are serious allegations. Do you have any proof of who orchestrated this act? Alera hesitated for a fraction of a second before nodding. The saboteur has admitted their role and implicated others who share their agenda. I invite the Council's security to corroborate this evidence. But more importantly, I ask all of you to reflect on the implications of such actions. If fear and deceit are allowed to dictate the direction of our collective progress, then we are no better than the chaos we claim to rise above. The room buzzed with tension as her words settled. Cale stepped forward, his voice firm. I was once skeptical of Earth's significance in this assembly. But today, I stand with Dr. Miles because she has shown me that Earth's strength lies not in domination or conquest but in its ability to adapt, to collaborate, and to find solutions that benefit all. Alera turned to Cale, her gratitude evident, before addressing the assembly again. This is not just about Earth. It's about the integrity of this council and the future we hope to build together. If we allow fear of change to undermine progress, then we all lose. A delegate from Eldoria rose, their voice calm but commanding. Dr. Miles is right. We cannot allow such actions to go unanswered. Let the Council convene an inquiry to uncover the full scope of this conspiracy and ensure it does not happen again. The room erupted in applause, a wave of support that filled Alera with a sense of vindication. She stepped back from the podium, her pulse steady but her mind racing. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned in their favor. As the assembly moved to organize the inquiry, Alera and Cale left the chamber together. In the quiet of the corridor, Cale spoke first. You handled that perfectly. I wasn't sure how they'd respond, but you made them see the bigger picture. Alera allowed herself a small smile. It wasn't just me. Your support made a difference. Coming from someone they respect, your words carried weight. Cale shrugged. Maybe. But it was your conviction that convinced me in the first place. Earth's story isn't just about its species, it's about its people. And you represent that better than anyone. They walked in silence for a moment before Alera spoke again. This isn't the end. Whoever orchestrated this will try again. Fear doesn't fade overnight. Cale nodded. Then we'll be ready. Today, we showed them what resilience looks like. Next time, they'll think twice before underestimating you, or Earth. Alera stopped and turned to face him, her expression resolute. Next time, we won't just defend ourselves. We'll take the initiative. We'll prove, again and again, that Earth belongs in this galaxy. Not because we demand it, but because we earn it. Cale extended a hand, and Alera shook it firmly. In that moment, an unlikely alliance was forged, not just between two scientists but between two worlds that had more to gain together than apart. As they parted ways, Alera glanced out the nearest viewport at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, challenges awaited. But for the first time, she felt the weight of those challenges lift, replaced by the fire of determination. Earth was no longer just a quiet voice in the galactic chorus. It was a presence, a force, a beacon of what humanity could achieve when it embraced its resilience, creativity, and courage. The galaxy had seen the amphibious Rex. Now, it would see what humanity could do.